Well, good evening, Facebook community. Jennifer here, hopping on for my Live at 5 series. I wanted to talk a little bit more today about money. I don't know about you, but I definitely would like to win with money here sometime, hopefully soon, sooner than later, as I'm sure most of us do. I talked a little bit yesterday about a budget and why it's important. It definitely is important, and what I wanted to talk to you about today are some of the different steps that we can take to, help us save money, help us, be able to build that wealth that we all want to have. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Dave Ramsey. If you're not, I highly recommend that you Google about him, Google his steps to financial freedom. It's absolutely amazing. As I mentioned before, for those who caught my video yesterday, I did attend a Financial Peace University class, which was worth every dollar spent. So if you have that opportunity, certainly make sure that you take advantage of that. During that course and with Dave's approach, he actually follows 7 steps he refers to as the baby steps. So I'm going to briefly go over those here, but the biggest thing I want to share today is talking about the step regarding getting out of debt. So, I'll just, briefly mention the 7 baby steps for you so you can understand what that is. Before I do that, I do want to mention, believe it or not, money is more than just math, which for me is a good thing because those who know me know I am awful at math and I hate math, everything about it. But really, believe it or not, 80% of our finances, our personal finances, is based on our behavior, not our ability to do math. So, while that may be, hard for some to stomach, I know it was for me at first, when I first heard that yeah, you're in debt because of your behaviors, hits home a little bit, but really you just need to realize that, accept that, and do whatever it takes to to make the changes to get out of that debt. So briefly, the 7 baby steps that Dave Ramsey refers to is baby step number 1 is you want to put at least $1,000 into an emergency savings fund. If your annual household income is less than $20,000 or less, then he recommends $500. But anything over that, he recommends that you start with a emergency savings of $1,000, so you'll have that set aside for any emergency purposes, so you don't have to rely on credit for those unexpected things. So step number 1. Step number 2, once you get your $1,000 or $500 into your emergency fund, you want to start paying off your debt. And that's what I'll talk about a little bit more in detail here in a few minutes, talking about the debt snowball and how we get out of debt. Baby step number 3, after all of your debt is paid off, you want to start putting 3 to 6 months of your monthly income, like your monthly expenses, into a savings. So that way, if God forbid you would lose your job, something would happen, you would have a couple of months where you'll have some income and you don't have to, again, rely on credit. Dave's very big on avoiding any type of credit cards, etc. And I am happy to say that I have, not that I don't have debt, I do still have some balances, but I've cut up every single credit card that I own and am taking the full Dave Ramsey approach of no credit cards. So I'm doing it. Baby step number 4, after you get your 3 to 6 months of savings, you want to start putting about 15% of your annual household income into a retirement savings Roth IRA, something of the sort. If you're somebody like myself who has been contributing to an IRA, during the time that you're trying to pay off your debt, he does recommend that you hold putting into those accounts, regardless of how hard that may seem. Because you're looking at maybe your employer's match, the rate of interest, etc. But he's been there. I know people, personal friends who have actually followed his approach and have had a lot of success. So I'm trusting the process. I've stopped my 401k contributions temporarily until I can pay off some of the debt that I have. Once you're contributing that 15% into your retirement, Then you want to start, looking at putting away for college. So of course I'm a little behind, seeing as my oldest daughter will be, or is a sophomore in high school. Got a lot of saving to do here, I guess, quickly. But then you'll want to start putting and saving for college. After you're, well on your way to doing that, start to work at paying off your mortgage. And that's actually one thing I do want to go back. When you're working on your debt snowball and paying off the debt, that does not include your mortgage. He works at that here at the very end, like I said, step 6, where you start getting your mortgage paid off. And at that point, you should have no debt, get your mortgage paid off early, and then all of your income that you're, getting from your work and, whatnot is, how you can start building wealth. So those are his 7 steps to building wealth. And as his grandmother says, let me see where I cited that here in my notes, but oh no, I'm probably not going to be able to find it. But anyways, basically the bottom line is, the most important way to get an income is to go to work. So easier said than done. I realize in the economy sometimes for certain people, jobs are not the greatest. I know, especially in our area, or low paying. So by no means am I insinuating, that part of things is easy. I realize it's not. But what he really encourages is to think outside the box and do whatever it takes to, find work a couple of jobs if you have to, whatever it takes to, really try to get yourself out of debt that it would be worth it. And I know myself, even with, the 4 kids at home and working full time, I do pick up some per diem work as well to, have that money. Unfortunately, with my behaviors, I haven't been as great at putting that towards the debt snowball. However, I have, been avoiding further debt and, slowly chipping away at that debt snowball. So talking a little bit about the debt snowball and what that is, based on the Dave Ramsey approach, is you want to list out all of your debts that you have. Again, this does not include your mortgage. List all of your debts, list them from smallest to largest in regards to the payoff amount, not your interest rate on it, the payoff amount. Because again, as I mentioned earlier, the biggest issue with money is our behavior. So as with anything else, we're human, we like to see some success. So when you start off with a lower amount of debt and you actually get to cross that one off, we feel good about that. So it gives us a little more momentum, like that snowball rolling down the hill, to, continue to work at, chipping away, getting that debt paid off, as opposed to starting with your highest, paid debt that's going to take a lot longer to pay off. We're going to get bored. We're going to lose interest, as we do with a lot of things in life. So start with your smallest payoff debt and list everything smallest to largest. Take that, take your smallest amount that you have to pay off, and put every dime extra that you can find that you can manage towards that debt to get that one paid off. In the meantime, continue to make the minimum payments on all your other debts so you avoid late fees and ruining your credit. But every dime, everything that you could make, sell things he recommends, like I said, the extra work if you can. Anyway, get creative, think outside that box to get extra money to put towards that debt. So you get debt number 1 paid off, say, for instance, you were putting $100 onto that, and in the meantime, your other debts, you were, maybe putting a minimum payment of $25, just throwing numbers out there. Once that first debt that you were paying $100 off on, you take that $100, put it towards your second debt, and now you'd be paying $125 because you continue the amount that you had been paying and you add that amount from the first debt that has already been paid off. So now your second debt, you're paying $125 a month. You chisel away at that, you get that paid off, and now you move on to debt number 3. Again, say you were paying $25 on that debt number 3 all along as you were paying off debt number 2. Now you take the $125, you add $25 to it, and now you're paying $150. So I'm sure you can, see and understand the trend. You're snowballing it, the amount of money that you're paying on each of those debts. And before you know it, they do get paid off. Again, I know some personal friends who have had such success with this that, to me, I'm a firm believer it's definitely doable. So, I encourage you to join me on this journey as well, and, work at, getting yourself debt free and being able to win with money like we all, want to do. So, again, the biggest factor, is our income. Don't rely on gambling. Don't rely on luck, playing the lottery. And most importantly, change your behaviors. Watch what you're spending on. Again, go back to that budget. Identify those things that you can cut out that aren't absolutely necessary. I know I've talked to my children. They're not too crazy about we don't need cable, and God forbid we don't need internet or cell phones. But so far, I've not had to cut back on some of those things. But, if you do, you do. And I know a friend of mine who had success, really did. She went without cable. She went without, a lot of different things that, that we look at as needs when really they're, more just, blanking for the word, but you know what I mean. They're not necessary. So start looking at your budget, looking at ways you can cut back, and start dumping that extra money into your debt. And before you know it, you will be paid off. And as Dave Ramsey says, if you want to live like no one else today, so you can live like no one else tomorrow. Definitely my goal. I hope it's a goal of yours, and I wish you lots of success. Have a great evening.